What's up, you guys? It's TJ DeStefano again, and I'm here with a very special guest, my guy Ben Formby. He played on the very first AAU team I ever had. My guy came in as a sophomore, had just quit basketball actually, and was still finding himself. But I knew he had a lot of potential. He was a great young man with a huge heart, and it's just been a blessing to watch how you've grown. Now, the first couple of things I want to ask are, do you remember those early days when we first met and first started training?
Oh yeah, 100%. I still remember that first day I walked in here. Walked in that gym, was very confused. And I still remember it to this day, like easily.
It was crazy. I remember you walking in, you were a little bit shy, a little bit nervous,
Oh, yeah.
but you had to duck to come in the door. You literally had to come down and walk through, and I was like, this is a big kid. And then you probably said 10 words the first day. You were, yes, sir, did whatever I asked you to do, but then just did whatever it was. And then now here we are, and we've had so many beautiful shared experiences. I've gotten to know you on a lot deeper level. You've opened up a lot, and it's just been fun, bro. Like, fun to get to know you, fun to watch where you're at now. What do you remember most about that first AAU season?
Man, I have to say a lot of those early practices for sure. They were definitely tough ones, but definitely super, super fun. As hard as they were, just going through it, especially with all the guys and how connected we were that season, how you made sure we were so entwined together, I feel like made the season so special for me.
I agree. I think that was one of my favorite experiences I've ever had.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
7 years into it now of coaching, and just seeing how you guys all took what I was trying to do and ran with it and trusted me, and then we just blew up, into not only like such a fun group, but such a good team too. Like, we had some really good games and really good moments, and so that was just a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just toss the floor to you. I want you to just tell people about who you are, kind of where you were before, where you are now, and just anything you want to let them know. So.
Okay, cool. So my name's Ben Formby. I'm from College Station. I'm currently a sophomore over at Laterno University in Longview, Texas. Like TJ said, I've been here with him since around my sophomore year, all the way up until now. Played on not only his first AAU team, but all of his AAU teams.
Very true.
So and I think I was the only person to do so.
I agree. I think that's true.
Yeah, I think I was the only person to be on all three of your teams. So, but like you talked about early on in my high school, I kind of went through a period of my time where I kind of struggled and questioned my kind of dedication and how much I wanted to pursue the sport of basketball. But especially when I came here and kind of worked with you a lot, it kind of helped me learn and kind of refine my love and passion for the game. So
it's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to know that I could help you on your journey.
Yeah.
So let's dig back into that AAU experience that you had, since you played all 3 seasons for me. From all 3 seasons, what do you think your favorite memory was of any of them?
Oh, that's good. Easily that first season, I'd say the ride back from after winning our Florida tournament.
Yes.
That was super, super fun. Just because we were all in the van, all of us in that small van.
Packed in that van.
Just hanging out, having fun. Like I said, we had just won, so the energy was high. It was fun. We had the game set up in there, playing the game back there, so it was just
a great time.
It was.
For sure, man. And we drove, what was it, like 9.5 hours there, 9.5 hours back. But man,
Crazy.
True. That was one of my favorite moments too, because we went into a foreign environment. We went and played teams that were in their home arenas, and still find a way to come out the win. And don't forget about the first game where I had to cuss y'all out a little bit and threaten the t-shirts to come back out because we decided we didn't want to play that day. Oh man, but yeah, man, y'all helped me grow as a coach a lot too. That was my first chance really being a leader to a team of my own, because I'd only been assistant here at Allen before that, so that was a good step for me too. Now, what do you think you learned from playing AAU under me? Like, what did the experience teach you about life, about the game, about yourself? Just kind of talk me through it.
Definitely. Like I said, a big one for me, especially early on was kind of a sense of mental toughness, and especially that. Because as soon as we walked in, like it was the standard from day one, especially practice-wise, games-wise. Like we're gonna make sure we're the mentally tougher team, and that ended up. We talked about it, but it won us a lot of games simply being that way. Was that when things were going crazy in the game, all of us were calm, looking straight, just going through what we needed to go through.
And we had some crazy moments in AAU, parents, refs, all type of things. But yeah, and I think that's a testament to y'all for real, because it's like, I know some of those days where we're running in practice because somebody does something wrong and I'm making everybody run, right? Like, y'all wanted to crash out on me. Y'all were angry. I get it. And I had to kind of learn how to be the villain to a certain degree, Like, I had to understand that I've had coaches that pushed me really hard, and I didn't like them in the moment, but then I come back around and I'm like, man, okay, they taught me some things that I wouldn't have learned any other way, And so that mental toughness is something that I don't know if it can be put into anybody other than through challenge, Like, I have to push y'all further than y'all think y'all can go. I got to take y'all out to the field sometimes. I gotta make y'all run, and when one person doesn't touch the line or make the time, the whole group's got to run again. Because then, like you said, once we got into those environments where it was actual competition and there's parents yelling at you and there's things going on that are external, it's like, we've already been through harder things. Coach TJ yells at us like crazy. He runs us like crazy. Now we're in this, and this is easy. This is nothing to us, right? Yeah. And I think that's beautiful. Again, thank you for sharing that. Was there anything that surprised you when you played AAU in terms of like who you were? Because just speaking from my experience, and we'll get a little bit deeper into this in the next section, but I watched you almost learn your game and learn how dominant you could really be in those summers, because you just had freedom to express yourself a little bit more, I think. AAU is a little bit different than school ball. The roles are different. You get to play for a championship every weekend as opposed to going for one state championship in school. So it's a different environment. But just talk to me about like what you learned and what kind of impressed itself upon you through those seasons. On the court specifically.
Yeah. Kind of like you said, was just growing kind of in my confidence and learning that like that's the type of player that I could be. You always made it like, especially in games and stuff like that, of making sure we knew that like we should be going out there with like full confidence in the type of players and helping us remember the type of players that we are and can be. And that was kind of just big for me because, like I said, I'm like kind of this more quiet, more shy to myself type of person. So kind of bringing out more of, like you said, kind of a dominant side and learning to be more aggressive and being more of that. For sure.
And so that segues perfectly into it because you, like we said, you were skilled when you came in. You could shoot, you could dribble a little bit, you had a little bit of perimeter game, but it was almost a challenge to get you to like realize how big you were. It was like, hey, I want you to be able to show that you can do that, but you can't forget that you're 6'9", and you can block people's shot, you can dunk on people. And, over time, I would say really that second summer, I think is when I saw a big shift in you. I think it was more internal, but obviously it showed on the external, where you were like, oh, I can do both. Like I can hit a three in your face and I can dunk on you and block your shot. And then that's when I feel like things started to take off for you, because it was like, when I play both of these sides, that's not only where I'm expressing myself fully, but that's where I'm at my best too, And so I thought that was really cool to watch how you came in a little bit softer, a little bit more finesse, but then transformed into like a dominant presence. Like, like I could trust you to play at the rim and contest everything. I could trust that if we dumped it off to you, you were gonna try to dunk on somebody. Whether you made it, got fouled, or missed it, like you were gonna try to punch it on them. And so give me kind of a understanding of what shifted for you, and was there one specific moment that you kind of realized it, or was it a gradual overcoming of like a fear? Kind of just walk me through how everything changed.
Well, I'd say definitely like coming into that second season is when I look around, a lot of the people from that first team, especially a lot of our leaders, had kind of stepped away. So I felt in some instance I had to step forward into more of like a leadership and kind of into more of that dominant role. And I feel like that's kind of what brought it out for me, was kind of learning and figuring out what I needed to do to help the team be successful. And I felt like that was me being more aggressive because, like you said, you could trust me to really go and be anywhere and do anything for you.
And you knew you were smart, you know what I'm saying? You knew the plays in and out, not that we had that many, but you knew the plays in and out. You knew how to talk to your teammates. I think that's one thing that's one of your biggest gifts, is like you were one of those guys that could communicate and connect across the entire board. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter if it was this guy from Rudder, or if it was this guy from College Station, or if this was this guy from St. Joseph's or whatever. It was like every piece you were able to find a connection with. And then not only is that huge on an emotional level, but you're physically such a big dude, you know, that it was like crazy to watch one of our giant pieces, both physically and metaphorically, also be one of the most down-to-earth leaders who could talk to anybody about anything. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know what obviously I haven't been to Laterno yet to see you, but don't forget that in your next step, you know, like that's a gift of yours, is being a leader and being able to connect to people and letting them remember, like, dude, it's bigger than the game, you know, like we're going to go out here, we're going to compete as hard as we can, we're going to have fun, I got your back, but also like, are you good? Like, is everything cool? Yeah. Because I've watched that in you over those 3 seasons, and I think that that's a huge gift of yours. Now, what did going through that and stepping into that leadership role, what did that transformation teach you about? Did it help you realize that holding people accountable wasn't a bad thing? Did it teach you a difference in confidence and mindset? Kind of just walk me through that. You realize, okay, I got to be a leader. I got to help. I'm sure that probably got you out of your comfort zone a little bit because you are more of a quiet guy. Yeah. What did it teach you about yourself?
Yeah, kind of like you said, getting out of my comfort zone. As being more of a quiet guy and not knowing, like, especially younger on, not knowing, like, thinking, oh, I'm not going to be a leader simply because I'm not the loudest guy in the gym. I'm not going to be the guy that gets on you and is yelling or screaming at you. But kind of learning that there's different ways of being a leader, especially, which, like, for me is, like you said, just being the guy that's, like, more soft-spoken but can really reach out to anyone and lead anyone in a way and kind of bring people together through there.
Beautiful. So. Beautiful. I love it. I've seen so much growth in you as a man over the last 4 years. And so now just kind of walk me through what has been going on in your personal life that you've struggled with. It could be on or off the court, but obviously growth comes from struggle, right? It comes from having to be uncomfortable, having to be thrown in the fire. Mm-hmm. Just talk me through what's your biggest struggle, and then what did you learn and what did you get from it as you went through the process?
Yeah, I'd say for biggest struggle that I'm kind of going through right now is somewhat with my game, and it's kind of finding the more physical side. Because when we talk about it here is on that high school level, I for sure made that jump in dominance, kind of finding the more physical thing. But in college, that's a whole different level.
For sure.
Which is currently what I'm trying to figure and work through and kind of do, which is definitely not easy when like I said, in college you can walk into a game or a gym and it's like, but you're walking into a college gym and everyone's there. It's serious. Mm-hmm. Everyone's the best player, and you have to make sure you match up there to really get that PT, really be able to stick with those guys.
For sure. So just the physicality of the game, what in terms of physicality, like, are you getting put under the rim because people are bigger than you? Are you just getting pushed out on rebounds? What's like the specifics of the physicality struggle?
I'd say for me, probably rebounding.
Rebounding, okay. So I think this is beautiful because one of the things to always remember is to not play outside of your game, right? You're tall, but you're not necessarily super massive or you're not weak, right? But you're not like a musclehead, right? No. So a lot of times what you've got to do is you've got to realize where your advantages lie for yourself and not try to play either how somebody else wants you to or how you watch somebody else play. So like, you may not be the really impactful offensive or defensive rebounder through pushing people under the rim and fighting them or forcing it. You may be the guy that learns angles really well and positions yourself in certain ways that the ball is going to hit off the rim and you can get your long ass arm and your big ass hands over there to grab it, right? So just always remember that, like, yes, you do have to be physical. That's obviously a very important piece of the game, especially for a big man. But use your strength. Don't try to force your weaknesses to change. Focus on using your strengths in the way that serve you the best, and then that will almost in a sense, I want to say, like, overshine your weaknesses, right? Yeah, you may be a tall, skinny guy, and that doesn't give you a lot of leverage in certain situations. But you also are quick. You have good movement for your size, right? So maybe you wait, and then you see these big dudes that just want to be, butting heads all the time. They're running at you to try to box you out, and you just slide right around them. Or you just position yourself, you pretend like, oh, you're boxing me out, I'm not doing anything, then really quickly you spin off and you go get it. Just find ways to allow yourself to be who you are in fullness and also still dominate how you want to dominate, because you're capable of it. I know even at the college level who you are and how determined you are as a player, that is way more important than any physical size can matter. What about off the court? I know that there's a lot of transitioning from high school to college, and then there's even a lot of transitioning from freshman to sophomore year, because you kind of figure yourself out in freshman year. You kind of experience certain things and get them out the way, and then you're like, okay, I'm kind of locked in on a routine and knowing what I want to do, right? So just give me a kind of biggest struggle off the court, regardless of whether that had to do with the transformation to high school to college or freshman to sophomore year, but just talk me through anything that you struggled with there.
Yeah, going through kind of routine for me is, like I said, with college, it's a lot more of a time-consuming thing for sure. Because when you're talking about, like, in high school, it's, hey, you'll maybe show up, you'll practice an hour, hour and a half a day, and then that's it. You're free to do whatever, and yeah, you can get some extra work in or whatever. In college, the separator and the way to get that playing time, you're showing up for that, like, 3-hour practice, that hour-long lift, and then outside of that is what you're doing in order to, like, get into that. No matter how tired you are with all the classes, all that other stuff, you still have to be finding consistent time to get inside the gym after that, and kind of finding stuff. I guess that kind of went away from outside of basketball.
I get what you're saying, though. Time management somewhat. Yeah, and that's a very good lesson for kids, like people that want to play college basketball, is how much of a commitment it truly is. It's not a hobby anymore once you get to college. Oh, yeah. It's a literal business. Like, if your coach doesn't win games, he's out of his job.
For sure.
If you're not doing your job as a player, you're sitting on the bench. Your coach isn't gonna like, oh, it's okay, Ben, yeah, you went 0 for 12 today, you gave up 5 offensive rebounds, but you'll get them next time. Like, no, it's not how it works. They're going to be on your head, and if you're not helping them win, you're on the bench.
Yeah.
And so that's huge too. I think that's something I struggled with early on in college, was like, knowing that I had all of these commitments and then still trying to have so much of a personal life or so much of a grades in my classes, keeping my grades high and stuff like that. And then as you get older, you kind of find the routine and you figure out, like, oh, this is more important to me than this, so let me just focus all my energy and attention on one thing. But that's awesome. Now, have you experienced, other than your sophomore year, obviously, because we talked about that a little bit, but since that journey from junior to senior high school to freshman, sophomore year of college, have you had any moments where you wanted to step away from the game again? Or have you been pretty locked in on committed to it?
I feel like to this stage I've been pretty committed to it. Like I said, I went through that one time. I wanted to make sure I really went through it back in that time in high school to kind of really think through and process what I wanted to do with the game, and I feel like I've been pretty locked in since.
Beautiful, beautiful, love that. Walk me through who some of your greatest mentors are, because none of us can do it alone. None of us can handle all the weight that comes with being a young man and being a collegiate athlete on our own. Who do you lean on? Who have you learned from? And what are some of the lessons that they've instilled in you?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest one I'd say is my dad. He played D1 college ball at Hardin-Simmons University back in the day when it was D1. And he has for sure been the biggest for me. Kind of one of his big sayings is, like, going into anything, whether it was basketball or not, he's always told me, you always give it 110% of your effort. and your attention and your time. And that's kind of been something that I hold so much to me, like you said, is that once I set my eyes on something, that's kind of what I'm going to chase and put that effort into. Kind of blanked. On more of what was the question again?
Just who are your mentors and who has really,
That's right.
Taught you things, and what did they teach you?
Yeah. So I'd say there, and kind of just teaching me that if you're going to choose to do something, you got to put that time, that effort into it, or else it's not going to really work out. Yeah. Another one, obviously, is you.
Appreciate you.
And just, like I said, it's hard to even say like a single thing, because you've taught me so much about just the game, about life, and kind of, but I'd just say a big one is kind of figuring out who I am as both a player and a person, and kind of teaching me a lot of deep lessons, especially through the sport of basketball, which I think is great, because basketball is such just an amazing learning tool in itself.
Facts. It's literally like a teacher of life. And then I realized very early on when I came back from college myself that if I was only teaching basketball, I was leaving so much growth on the table, because I could help you get better. I can help you shoot. I can help you dribble. I can help you pass, all that type of stuff. But like, I went through some deep, dark stuff mentally and emotionally because of basketball and because of how much I placed my importance on it, And then once I finally untied my own identity and my own performance to like my self-worth as a person, it was all of a sudden so much easier for me to have fun playing instead of being so pressure filled that I gotta score, I gotta do this, I gotta win. I was like, no, bro, I play because it's fun. So I'm glad that I could help bring that to you as well, and now help you not only be fully dedicated and fully committed to it, but also have fun with the process and know that the only way that you really fail is if you quit too early. You're going to give it up at some point, whether that's 35 or whether that's 25. Yeah. But it's, did I quit on my own terms, or did I let experiences force me into giving up early, And so that's awesome. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's pivot back into what you would talk to yourself about if you could go back and talk to sophomore year you, or talk to younger Ben. What are some of the lessons and some of the things that you would try to instill in him, knowing the journey that he had moving forward?
Yeah. I'd say for that, kind of just that's a good. Kind of similar to what you said, but kind of just finding that love for the game. I feel like at that point, it was kind of like becoming more of a chore. And it's like, I actually was talking to my dad about it the other day, but it was just like every time I walked in that gym, I was looking at basketball as something I had to do, not something I wanted to do. And I feel like that's something that has kind of gotten me to the point where I am, and finding that, hey, like stepping in there is like something I love to do. And every day, even though like it's hard, even though you run, you do all of that stuff that maybe you don't want to do, there's so much of it, but like finding the love in it and kind of just finding the appreciation for how much you love being there and getting the chance to do it is something really, really big.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful, because in any avenue, even not just basketball is just like what we love to do.
Yeah.
But in any avenue, when you are truly connected to the love for the work, right, then it's almost as if those hard moments and those obstacles aren't as difficult.
Yeah.
It's not true, right? It's like mentally spun because of emotion and how we feel. But like, if you didn't love basketball, the 5 in a minute that I'm telling you to run is going to be a minute of hell.
Yeah.
Whereas if you really love basketball, it's like a part of you still is like, I don't want to run this shit right now. Like, this is about to be hard. I'm about to be breathing. My lungs about to be burning.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, I know this is going to make me better in shape, right? I know that my teammates have to go through this with me. I'm not the only one on the line running. So we're all in this together, right? And so just by staying connected to the pure love and the pure joy of the game in its whole essence, you know, like, because you don't just get to play games. You don't just have to practice and run.
Yeah.
It's like, can I really stay in that pure joy and love for the entirety of what I'm doing? And when you can, it's such a freeing experience, and you have so much more energy to like actually do the work, because you're not denying the hard and not so fun parts, and you're not clinging to the success and the games and the tournaments and the trips. It's like, no, okay, I understand. When it was that first summer, those Tuesdays and Thursday nights, that shit's gonna be hard, you know, that shit is going to be difficult. We're gonna run. We had a silent practice one time that summer where like y'all couldn't say anything. Or
That's
like
another favorite memory right
just weird moments that I'm throwing at you guys to let y'all know, like, hey, you're in this together. It's gonna be challenging, but so is life, so is college when you get there. Like, I'm sure you've had challenging practices in college where your coach just comes in and makes you do whatever, right? But that's just a part of it. That's just a part of the process of then the harder we work here, the more focused we are here, the more connected we are with each other here. That's when this actually grows in joy. Because there's a direct correlation between like the amount of pain you're willing to go through in the process of preparing than on the other end that you get to experience in terms of like the fruits of your labor. You know, if you're willing to run a lot more, if you're willing to lift a lot more weight, if you're willing to put up a lot more shots even when you're tired, then naturally on the other end of the spectrum, this has to turn into something. And so I think that's beautiful, you know, like I think that's something that everybody needs to realize is, do I really love what I'm doing? Am I really genuinely in love with whatever I'm choosing to do? Because it's a choice, right? You don't have to play basketball this year. You could walk into your coach's office on Monday and be like, sorry, not for me. Now we're not going to do that, but just knowing like, hey, I love what I do, and I can't run from what the responsibilities are that come from that, you know? And I think that's awesome, because that's what a lot of young kids need to hear. I think a lot of young kids maybe love the game, not sure 100%, but they maybe love the game, but they don't understand it. Well, if I want to play something at a high level, I got to do all this stuff too. You know, like I can't just go to the park with my friends and kiki around playing 3-on-3. Like now I got to get myself in the gym, preferably with somebody who, you know, knows the process it takes. Because if you don't know how hard you got to work, then it's just a disconnect from reality, right? Like I think that was one of my big lessons for y'all in that summer too, was like, hey, I don't know what y'all have done before this, but I'm gonna show you how hard we gotta work, you know? And it's gonna suck, because I didn't like it either when I was going through it. But you're gonna have to run this much, you're gonna have to do crazy things like go out to the football field if your team gets in trouble. And then just giving y'all that experience makes it's not a shell shock when you get to college. It's like, I've been through this type of shit before. Maybe not, I don't know if you've done something harder than we've done that summer or not, but you've been there and you're like, okay, this is the same type of energy that I had to go through with Coach TJ. Now I'm just going through it again. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Let's talk about, what is your life going to look like moving forward from here? What are some of the goals that you've set? What are you trying to do with your life? What do you want to be remembered by? Just give me like a walkthrough.
I'd say for the near future, right now, like I said, I'm a sophomore. Last year as a freshman, didn't really play a whole lot. This year I'm looking to kind of move into that role and kind of carve a little spot for me to at least get some time to kind of show what I'm about and can do. Obviously, as I move up, upperclassmen, I want to be able to continue that in the future, continue to be the type of player that, like you said, you've seen, I've learned to see more and more that I can be, and being a big contributor for us there. But then kind of into the future of some extent. Right now I'm looking to kind of go into some form of, it's kind of hard to figure out, but some sort of like ministry through sports is something I'm looking to kind of do in my future.
Beautiful.
Which through like different people, but one of them is you, and kind of just seeing how you and multiple other people that I've seen kind of in my life, how much you've helped contribute to just so many people and reach so many people, and kind of figuring out what to do with that. But that's kind of what I'm looking to do.
Beautiful. I think that's a very powerful direction to take it with, because you can impact so many people through the game. And I think that's something that I underestimated when I first started, was like, oh, I can actually change lives by teaching them basketball, but more than basketball through it. That's awesome. Okay, so give me one sentence about how you define success for yourself now. One sentence.
Fine. I'd say just through, like we've said multiple times, but kind of reaching out of my comfort zone and kind of being more open to new opportunities.
I like it.
That's the sentence I'd put, but kind of just adding on to it is that we've talked about it, but easily what we've learned is that the only way you really grow is through those. Mm-hmm. And that's something big for me, especially as being more of a reserved and laid back person. I feel like a good amount of the time turned down a lot of opportunities to kind of go out of that comfort zone. But as soon as I'm put, or I'll choose to be in those, sometimes it always comes back to being like, oh, this was worth it. This is 100%.
Because you learn. Whether it's good or bad, you learn something.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I really appreciate you coming in, dude. It's been such a blessing to get to know you throughout the years, to continue to watch you grow as a young man. I'm very proud of you. I have so much respect for who you are as a person. Wishing you the best of luck this season, as you already know. Are you headed back today?
Head back, yeah.
So be safe on the drive. Let me know when you get there. And just love you, bro. Truly.
Yeah, love you too.